Most people who have spent time in a church or near a Bible or even just around faith in some form have heard the list: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. 9 words. Most of us can recite them without thinking. Some of us had them on a poster in our bedroom growing up. Some learned them in Sunday school before we were old enough to understand what they really meant. But knowing the list is not the same as living it. And here is something that changes everything when you first notice it. In the original text of Galatians, the word used is not fruits, plural. It is fruit, singular. One word, one whole thing. Not 9 separate items on a checklist to complete. One life expressed 9 different ways. Think about a tree. A healthy apple tree does not try to grow apples. It does not strain or push or perform. It grows its roots deep. It drinks from good soil. It turns toward the light. And fruit comes naturally as the result of what is happening beneath the surface in the quiet places no one sees. That is exactly how the fruit of the Spirit works. You do not force it. You do not fake it. You grow it slowly from the inside out by staying connected to the one who planted you. Today, we will walk through all 9 together, not as a list to memorize, not as a standard to feel guilty about, as a way of living that is available to every one of us, including you, right now, exactly where you are. This lesson is for anyone who wants to grow deeper in English and in spirit. You do not perform the fruit, you grow it. Let us begin. Lesson 1, toward God. The first 3 fruits grow in the soil of your relationship with God. They are not things you build on your own. They are things that become possible when you stay close to the source of all of them. Let us start with the first one, and it is the biggest one, the one everything else rests on: love. Not the love that comes easily, not the warm feeling you have for people who are kind to you, who make your life better, who deserve it in the way we usually measure deserving. The Greek word used here is agape. And agape is different from every other kind of love the world talks about. Agape does not depend on the other person. It does not wait to see how they behave before deciding how to feel. It does not keep score. It does not have conditions written in fine print at the bottom of the page. Agape is a decision made before the other person does anything at all. Think about what this means in practice. There is someone in your life right now who is difficult to love. Maybe they hurt you. Maybe they are selfish. Maybe they simply exhaust you in ways you cannot fully explain. And every part of you wants to wait until they change, until they apologize, until they become easier before you extend anything warm in their direction. Agape says, do not wait. Not because they deserve it, not because it will feel good, but because love in its deepest form is not a response to someone else's behavior. It is a choice you make about who you are going to be. This is the hardest fruit on the list, and it is also the first one. That is not an accident. Choose love as a verb, not wait for it as a feeling. Now the second one. And this one surprises people the first time they really understand it. Joy. Most of us have spent our whole lives chasing happiness. A better job, a better relationship, a day when everything goes right. And when those things arrive, we feel it, that brightness, that lightness. And when they leave, the feeling goes with them. But joy is not happiness. Happiness depends on what happens. Joy depends on who holds you. Joy is the deep, quiet certainty that you are held by something larger than your circumstances. It does not need a good day to survive. It does not disappear when the news is bad, or the body is tired, or the future feels uncertain. It lives underneath all of that like a river running under frozen ground, invisible in winter, but always moving, always there. You can grow in joy even in a season of real loss, not by pretending the loss is not real, but by remembering that the loss does not define the whole story. Today, find one thing that is still good. It does not have to be big. A cup of tea that is warm, a child's voice, morning light through a window. Hold it. Let it remind you that goodness still exists, even here, even now. And then there is the third fruit of this first cluster, the one almost everyone is searching for: peace. The Hebrew word behind this concept is shalom. And shalom does not simply mean the absence of conflict, it means wholeness, completeness, nothing missing, nothing broken. A state of being so settled that the outside world loses its power to pull you apart. Most of us think peace comes after the storm, after the problem is solved, after the difficult conversation is finished, after the results come back and they are good. We imagine peace as something that waits for us on the other side of the hard thing. But peace as a fruit of the Spirit is different. It is available in the middle of the storm, not after it. Think of a small boat on a very rough sea. The storm is real, the waves are real, the danger is real. But deep at the bottom of that boat, there is an anchor. And the anchor holds, not because the water has calmed, but because the anchor is connected to something that does not move. That is the peace that passes understanding. Not peace because the circumstances are easy, peace because the anchor holds. When your mind races tonight, and it will, because that is what minds do, you do not need to fight it. You do not need to solve everything before you can rest. You can breathe. You can bring your thoughts back gently, like gathering scattered papers from the floor. You can pray even if the prayer is just one word, and you can breathe again. The peace is not something you manufacture. It is something you return to. You do not perform the fruit. You grow it. Love, joy, and peace. 3 fruits that grow in the direction of God. They are not rewards for perfect behavior. They are not reserved for people who have it all figured out. They are available to you in the ordinary moments of an ordinary day, whenever you choose to stay connected to the one who is the source of all 3. And when you feel far from any of them, that is not a sign that you have failed. It is simply a sign that the roots need water. Go back to the source. The fruit will follow. Lesson 2, toward others. The next 3 fruits face outward. They are grown in private, but lived in public. They show up in the grocery line, in the family dinner, in the difficult conversation at work, in the moment when someone needs something from you and you are not sure you have anything left to give. These are the fruits that other people feel before they ever read about them. Patience. The old translation of this word is long-suffering. It is a harder word than patience. Long-suffering means you carry something heavy for a long time without putting it down in anger, without turning bitter, without deciding that the waiting has gone on too long and giving up is the only reasonable response left. We live in a world that has forgotten how to wait. Everything moves fast now. Messages answered in seconds, food delivered in minutes, results expected before the work is even finished. And into all of that speed, the fruit of patience asks us to slow down, to hold on, to trust that what is not yet finished is still being worked on. Think of a father who has a son who walked away, not just away from home, away from everything the father believed in and hoped for. And the father waits, not quietly sitting in despair, not loudly demanding that the son return. He waits with his eyes on the road. Every morning he looks. And one day when the son is still far off, the father sees him and runs. Patience is not passive. It is active hope that refuses to become cynicism. The next time you are stuck in traffic, or waiting for an answer that is taking too long, or watching someone you love make a choice you wish they would not make, try this. Wait one more minute than feels comfortable. Not because the waiting is easy, but because patience is a muscle, and muscles only grow when they are used. Then there is kindness. Kindness sounds simple. We were all taught it as children. Be kind. Say thank you. Hold the door. And those things matter. But the fruit of kindness goes deeper than good manners. The fruit of kindness is intentional. It does not happen by accident. It looks for the person in the room who is standing alone. It notices the colleague who seems quieter than usual. It remembers that the cashier at the counter is a full human being with a full life happening behind their eyes, not just a function in your day. Kindness as a fruit is something you decide to carry with you before you leave the house. Not something you offer only when it is convenient, only when the other person is grateful, only when there is something in it for you. Think about the last time a stranger was unexpectedly kind to you. A small thing, a word they did not have to say, a gesture that cost them almost nothing. Do you remember how it felt? How it stayed with you longer than the moment deserved? That is the power of intentional kindness. It costs very little to give and means everything to receive. Today, do one small kind thing that no one will notice. Not for the recognition, not for the feeling it gives you, just because you chose to be someone who does that. And then goodness. This is where people sometimes get confused because kindness and goodness sound like the same thing, but they are not. Kindness is how you treat people. Goodness is who you are when no one is watching. A person can be kind in public and hollow in private, can smile at strangers and be cruel behind closed doors, can give generously when people are looking and take quietly when they are not. That is kindness without goodness. Goodness is the alignment between who you appear to be and who you actually are. It is integrity in the old sense of the word, wholeness. One piece all the way through. No hidden fractures. Goodness is choosing to do the right thing in the empty room. Returning the extra change the cashier gave you by mistake. Keeping the promise even when the other person will never know if you broke it. Being honest in the conversation that no one else will hear. It is a fruit that grows slowly in the quiet, invisible choices of daily life. Ask yourself this question, not as a judgment, but as an honest mirror. Would I make the same choices today if I knew someone whose opinion mattered to me was watching everything? And if the answer is no, in some places, those places are where goodness is still growing. That is not failure. That is information. That is the beginning of growth. You do not perform the fruit, you grow it. Patience, kindness, and goodness. Three fruits that face the world. Three ways of being with other people that go deeper than behavior and come from somewhere deeper than effort. They grow when you remember that every person in front of you carries a weight you cannot see. When you remember that how you treat people in small moments tells a larger story about who you are becoming. When you remember that love, the first fruit, the root of everything, is not just a feeling toward God or a few special people. It is a practice extended outward every ordinary day to everyone who crosses your path. Lesson 3, toward self. The last three fruits turn inward. They are about the relationship you have with yourself, the promises you keep or break when no one is watching, the way you speak to yourself in the quiet after a hard day, the space between what you feel and what you choose to do with what you feel. These are the fruits that determine more than any others the quality of your inner life. Faithfulness. We usually think of faithfulness as something we owe to other people. A faithful friend, a faithful partner, someone who shows up, who keeps their word, who does not disappear when things get difficult. And that is true. Faithfulness toward others matters enormously. But there is another dimension of faithfulness that is rarely talked about: the faithfulness you owe to yourself. Every time you tell yourself you will do something and then do not do it, something happens. Not dramatically, not in a way you would notice on any single day, but slowly, quietly, you begin to trust yourself a little less. The promises you make to yourself start to feel lighter, easier to set aside, more optional than real. I will start tomorrow. I will change next week. I will be different when things calm down. And the version of you that was counting on those promises waits and slowly stops expecting anything at all. Faithfulness to yourself is not about being hard on yourself when you fail. It is about taking seriously the commitments you make to your own becoming, treating your own word as something that means something, being someone you yourself can rely on. Start small. Keep one promise today. Not a big one, a small one. Get up when you said you would. Finish the thing you started. Write the one paragraph. Make the one call. Honor the small commitment, because small commitments kept consistently are how you become someone who keeps the large ones. Now, gentleness. And here is where the world gets this fruit most wrong. Gentleness is not weakness. Let that settle for a moment. The word used in the original text is sometimes translated as meekness, and meekness has a bad reputation. It sounds like someone who never stands up, never speaks, never pushes back, accepts everything without complaint. That is not meekness. That is not gentleness. That is just fear wearing a spiritual mask. True gentleness is strength that has been given a direction. It is the person who could raise their voice but chooses not to, who could crush the argument but decides that the relationship matters more than winning, who has every right to respond with force and instead responds with care. Think of a skilled surgeon. Their hands are strong. They have years of training and real power. But when they hold a scalpel, every movement is precise and gentle, not because they are weak, but because they understand what is at stake. They know that the right touch in the right place with the right pressure does more good than any amount of force. That is gentleness. Power in service of something more important than power itself. The people who are genuinely gentle are not the ones who have nothing to say. They are the ones who have learned to say it carefully. Before you speak in the next difficult moment, try this. Lower your voice by one level. Not because you are wrong, not because the other person is right, but because a gentle answer offered from a place of real strength almost always opens more doors than a loud one. And finally, self-control. This is the fruit that closes the list, and in many ways, it holds all the others together. Self-control is not about suppressing who you are. It is not about becoming emotionless, flat, a person who never feels anything strongly. God made you a feeling human being, and that is not a mistake. Your emotions are real. Your desires are real. Your impulses, your longings, your frustrations, all of it is real and human and not something to be ashamed of. Self-control simply means that your feelings do not get to drive. Think of it this way. You are in the car. The feelings are passengers. They can talk, they can express themselves, they can tell you where they want to go. But you are the one with your hands on the wheel, and you decide the direction. Between every stimulus and every response, there is a space. It is sometimes very small, a fraction of a second. The moment between hearing something that upsets you and opening your mouth. The moment between wanting something you should not have and reaching for it. The moment between the impulse and the action. That space is where your freedom lives. And self-control is simply the practice of finding that space and choosing to use it. Not every time, not perfectly, but more often than yesterday. With more intention than before. Feel it. Acknowledge it. Then choose. You do not perform the fruit, you grow it. Faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. 3 fruits that shape your inner world. 3 practices that determine not just what you do, but who you are becoming. One quiet decision at a time, in the moments that no one sees, but that you will always remember. Because you were there, and the person you are growing into was watching. How fruit grows. We have walked through all 9 now. And if you are anything like most people, some of them felt close and familiar, like something you recognized in yourself. And some of them felt far away, like a version of yourself you have not quite reached yet. That is exactly right. That is how it is supposed to feel. Because this is not a performance review. It is not a test where 9 out of 9 is passing and anything less is failing. It is a picture of a life that grows slowly, unevenly, with seasons of abundance and seasons where the branches look bare and you wonder if anything is still happening underneath. Something is always happening underneath. Go back to the tree for a moment. When you look at a fruit tree in winter, there are no apples, no leaves, nothing visible to suggest that this bare, quiet thing is going to produce anything at all. But the roots are working. Quietly in the cold and the dark, they are going deeper, drawing up water, building the structures that will support the fruit that comes later. You cannot rush that process by staring at the branches. So how do you actually grow the fruit? Not perform it, not imitate it, grow it from the inside in a way that lasts. 3 things. The first is stillness. In a world that rewards noise and speed, stillness feels unproductive. But it is in stillness that the roots go deep. 5 minutes in the morning before the day takes over. A moment before you eat. A pause before you respond. These small pockets of quiet are not wasted time. They are where the growing happens, where you reconnect to the source, where the soil gets turned. You cannot hear the still small voice in the middle of constant noise. You have to create the conditions for it. The second is community. You cannot grow this fruit alone, not fully. You need to be near people who are also growing, not perfect people, not people who have already arrived, but people who are honest about the distance between who they are and who they want to become, and who are walking in that direction anyway. When you are around people who are practicing love, it becomes more natural to practice it yourself. When you are near people who choose patience, your own patience has more room to grow. The soil around you matters as much as the soil within you. Look at who you spend your time with, not to judge them, but to ask honestly whether the environment you are in is one where this kind of fruit can grow. The third is practice. Imperfect, daily, unglamorous practice. You will have days when love comes easily and days when you have to dig for it from somewhere very deep. You will have mornings of genuine peace and nights when the anxiety comes back. You will keep some promises and break others. You will be gentle in one conversation and say something in the next one that you wish you could take back. That is not failure. That is farming. The farmer does not stop planting because last year had a hard frost. He plants again because that is what farmers do. Because the work of growing things is never finished and never wasted, even when it is hard to see. Some days you will be patient. Some days you will not. The fruit is not about perfection. It is about direction. Keep your face toward the light. Keep your roots in the good soil. Keep showing up to the quiet work of becoming. The fruit will come. It always does when the conditions are right and the growing is real. We began today with a list that many of us already knew. 9 words, written down 2,000 years ago and still somehow describing exactly the kind of person most of us are quietly trying to become. Love that chooses before it feels ready. Joy that does not depend on circumstances. Peace that holds in the middle of the storm, not after it. Patience that waits without turning hard. Kindness that looks for the person no one else is looking at. Goodness that stays the same when no one is watching. Faithfulness that keeps the small promises, the ones only you will ever know about. Gentleness that comes from strength, not from the absence of it. And self-control that finds the space between the feeling and the response and chooses carefully in that space. 9 fruits, 1 life. Grown slowly from the inside out by staying close to the one who is the source of all of them. You will not master all 9 tomorrow. No one does. And that is not the point. The point is to choose one today. The one that feels most needed right now. The one you have been quietly aware of for a while. The one that comes to mind before you even finish asking the question. Start there. Water it. Come back to it tomorrow. You do not perform the fruit. You grow it. I hope this time together has been good for your heart and for your English too. Keep listening, keep growing, and keep returning to the quiet work that no one sees, but that changes everything over time. Before you go, I have one question for you. Which fruit of the Spirit do you feel most called to grow right now? Write it in the comments below. Just one word is enough, because naming it is the first step toward growing it. Thank you for being here. I will see you in the next one.